Good evening, everybody. To get the icon bumping. Praise Jesus for wonderful, another wonderful evening. Guys, man, it feels like, and I don't know if I'm the only one that's feeling this way. I think I asked Jake about it. Maybe he said something about it too. But doesn't it feel like the time, you know how time it has been going so fast these last few years? Hasn't it been like slowing down like the last 2 days or 3 days? Like in a way where I remember like after the first show, it would be like no time and I'm already starting that evening show. Like almost, I mean, it would go by so fast that I would just remember, show to show to show, right? And now it's starting to feel like, because like I'll fall asleep at like 3 o'clock or something like that. I'll be doing something at 3, fall asleep, and I feel like I slept like an hour and a half or 2 hours, right? And I look at the clock and it's like 3:15 or something like that. Like I don't know if you guys are experiencing the same thing where like time is. I know. I gotta put a smile on. Well, I was trying to do this. Now that you mentioned that smile, right? That's my serious face because I'm always smiling. Like this right here. Like this is my this is when I'm this is when I'm being serious right there. And that's my normal happy self, right? And so because in real life, I am not I'm not that serious, and so it was an effort to even take this picture right there. So yeah, but have you guys noticed that the time is slowing down again? Like, or is it still going super fast for you guys? Because I'm starting to think, right? I mean, I know that I've tried to be, semi-neutral here for a while, like just so that everyone can be included with what they think is going to happen, like with the end, or with their take on salvation or how it was for them, right? But now it's starting to become clearer and clearer to me what um, what is real to me, and we're getting close to the end, and I don't know if I can't really entertain that stuff really that much anymore because like I do get it, right? There are always going to be people that are going to have like different beliefs or whatever, and that's fine, right? um you know it's fine for right now, right? Like it takes a while for people to get there, and maybe I got to get there, right? Maybe there's still a lot of things I need to learn, right? And so in that way there's no problems, but it's like there's always, it seems like, these doctrines of devils, right, that find us and um seem it upsets people, right? And so like, but just know this, right? I've been standing in the trenches here in this YouTube, right? Standing in the trenches of having people try to convince me of all kinds of things, right? And just try to be as peaceful as doves, right? And know what's going on around you, right? Wise as serpents, right? Harmless as doves, right? And for every one person that, because what'll happen is somebody will tell me, hey, look, this one person is doing this and that, and it's not good, and these beliefs are off or whatever. And I see it, trust me, I see it. And but for every one that is pointed out to me, there's 10 that you guys don't see, you know? And so just know that God has our back, right? I trust God in his understanding of everything. And I don't even have a perfect understanding of what's going on, right? I feel like I'm getting closer and closer, and I'm getting more and more sure about digging in on what I believe, you know, and I really think that what's happening now is premillennial dispensation of the end times is happening, and I do think there's going to be a rapture soon, and it's hard for me to stay open. I mean, the one other view I was open to was that we were after the 1,000 years, right? That's the only thing that I could was even considering, is that we were way beyond it, and it was like a repeat LARP of the prophecy before the 1,000 years. But now I don't even entertain that. I mean, I don't even entertain that anymore. And I really was just staying open, right? Trying to learn all the different ways, right? All the different, like, because it's interesting to know, well, how did people get to where they believe? Like, why do they believe that? Not just is it right or wrong, but like, why do you think that? Like, how, like, what things are you looking at to make you think that, you know? And it's tough sometimes, right? Because I want to understand that, but I get a lot of pressure from people that are like, "Oh no, man, this is no good. Don't even go down this road," you know. And I get it. Like for me, right? If all I cared about was me, then I would be fine because I know what's going to happen to me. I feel pretty happy and secure, you know. But it's like it. But it's really about trying to help other people feel that way too, you know. And I guess it'd be different if this was like a ministry, like a fellowship ministry, where like we all should be like-minded, equally yoked people, right? It's when you run a missionary type thing, you have to open the door to some like very broken people, and like I think one of the things that people don't see is that it's not that these trolls are in the way of us helping these like sheep that are out there. It's that these trolls, right, are the sheep that we're trying to help. And it really is, we're at the very end. And it's bottom of this is everyone's last chance, right? We're that close. That's what I think. That's what I think. But here, let me drop the link and get a few people up here if you want. Just like, guys, try to be careful like what we talk about as far as like current events. I won't say it like that. Let's be careful what we talk about medically. Other than that, I don't care. I don't care about anything else. I don't know why they keep getting me on that medical advice or whatever, but that's what they got me on all the times that they got me on a strike. And so I don't care about the other stuff. And if it's something crazy, then I'll just delete the stream after. But here's the link, guys. I put the link in there. Now I'm only gonna let people that are regular people up, and that's not to exclude anybody. That's just for the safety of everybody. And so if anybody that's new or that hasn't been coming for like, longer than 4 or 5 times or whatever, then just email me, goodservant22@gmail.com, and we'll talk, have a little conversation. Maybe I'll give you my number, and then I'll feel more comfortable, and I think it's a pretty simple thing. It's just a matter of me getting to know that you're a real person. It says, Michael says, I just sit back and let y'all do your thing. You don't want to join, Michael? You don't want to join the well, I like doing panels, right? I do, right? Because it's I think it's good for us to all hear each other's voice at the very least, because when we're typing in the chat box, it's like we could it's like when we're typing in the chat box, we don't know how the other person sounds, like their tone. And so like a lot of times there could be some I know Faith is not a robot, but a lot of times people could you know, be saying something in like a soft voice, and if you read it in a different tone, it could mean something totally different, and there could be miscommunications, or you know, because I've had people say to me, oh yeah, this person said this to me, and in my head, because I know both people, I'm like, no way, like there's no way that person would ever say that, like not in that way, you know, like it's not possible. And so like when you know all the variables, right, you know both people and they don't know each other, sometimes I'm like, wow, those people would be friends for sure, you know. And so look at you all being scared, man. It's all right, I'll just babble if you want. I'll just be up here babbling. No, I shouldn't say that, right? Because that's from Babylon, right? The towers of Babel. God, you can't say anything without it being some kind of inverted. Yeah, it's some kind of inverted symbolism, right? Yeah, I don't. I'm against Babylon, 100% against it. I repeat, against Babylon. So yeah, there's just so many, like not just robots, Faith, right? But like there's people that are on YouTube as like a job, right? It's like their job to be on here. You know, to be a troll or whatever. I don't know how it works. I mean, I had this one guy tell me that people come on here to be trolls and they get like gift cards to like Safeway or Target or something, you know, like $25 gift card to like troll people. And now I don't know how true that is, you know, but you would think that these people get paid by the comment because they make about 2 million comments on your comment section. And yeah, there's definitely some interesting trolls. I've been told to kill myself in like I think 7 languages already. And now I think that is impressive. It's an impressive stat, right? He said he contributed 0 to salvation. Oh yeah. I mean, how can you contribute to salvation if Jesus did the work, right? That is that's just a fact, right? Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure, but I think so, Michael. It could be more than that. It could be more, but I'm not sure. Yeah, some crazy amount. People tell me to kill my. Thank God for that Google Translation tool, because you know you never know what people are saying to you. You know, you never know what people are saying to you. But you can assume, right, that if you speak English and they don't, and they're saying something to you, that it's either one of those what do they call them, the porn bots or whatever, which are easy to spot, right? Or it's somebody telling you to kill yourself. All right, Alex, hold on a second. Hey, Alex, welcome to the show. How are you doing today, buddy?
Thank you, Steven. I'm
What's going
very
on,
wonderful.
man?
Thank you. Yourself?
Uh,
Oof, just got home. Got like a beautiful day. It's been winter here. It's like a pretty sunny day today, and went to church and came here just for a little while, and then went for my brother's. We had like tea together. He's like not gonna be in town, so celebrated my birthday up front, so I don't have to eat now, so that's good.
wow, wow, you got it up front, huh?
I have like a Zoom meeting later, so might as well use my battery with you a little while.
Right, right, yeah, absolutely. And so, like, where do you live at? I
I'm in
forget.
the end of the world, brother. I'm in the last corner. I'm in Chile, like right next to Argentina, South America.
Okay, okay. Okay. How have you ever been to America or anything like that? Or
Yeah, well, long time, like early 80s was my last time. Like I was like, I don't know, 11 or 10 or something. Because my
oh, okay, little.
grandparents lived here. I never had like only my grandmothers, both of them. One lived in Florida, the other one in Berkeley. I have still an
Oh,
uncle, but
wow.
I never kept in touch with him. You know, it's a long story with him, but I just saw him twice. And he once came here too, while my mom was still alive, and just for a little while.
I live close to Berkeley. So one of your relatives lived in California and the other one lived in Florida.
Well, not anymore. My
Yeah,
grandma
they're back.
passed in the
Yeah.
early 80s. Actually, well, she was remarried to who I thought was it was really my grandfather because was like my mom's stepdad, right? But it was my reference of granddad. I never knew the man, the granddads, like from each side.
Yeah.
I never knew them. So
Well,
it's
that's
a long
pretty
story.
interesting. It's pretty interesting that like that because that's very close to where I live. I'm like I don't know, maybe 40 miles from there, and like
Uh-huh.
in California, like that 40-mile commute is not that much. It's like a couple hours away is close, fairly close. But
Right.
yeah, I mean that's interesting. That's very interesting. So like so how long so are you like a truther, right? Like you started getting into conspiracies and looking around for uh different things that seemed like they didn't seem right. Like are you a truther?
Well, it's impossible to not label things or people, right? But I've been
Right.
like, I push it, I shy away from labels a lot. I think
Okay.
I can get like good things from everywhere, or I don't know when we're talking about end times and stuff. I agree, for example, more with Mark, but anyway, I don't look much into that. What I most concentrated now at this point in my life is the now, but I could say that yes, I'm aware like all of that they've been spoon feeding us for years and all the lies. And I've been like quiet in some deep conspiracies, in the deep rabbit hole, like for a while, like especially in things that are related to musical and social engineering, uh, in the pop culture, and then it all ties together. It all ties together,
Uh,
but me, I lead like a very kind of quiet life, especially since the pandemic started. So I'm not like 100% compromised with any agenda. I'm pretty much broke, but I don't owe any money, so I don't compromise anyone. I sometimes have followed some regulations regarding, the procedures of medicine, but
yeah.
it's all a thing of offer and demand, in this world. So it's very weird. Like here, for example, they would ask you like what we call the mobility pass. They would ask you for that,
Right.
for your requirement of taking the
Yeah.
thing, the bee sting.
Yep. Yep.
If you want to see Carl Juniors, for example, at the mall. So I would expect that people will tell me, well, we recommend you vegetarian restaurant or something, but it's counterproductive. You know what I mean? There
It
was a
is.
point when I even did all this stuff and all that because I did it like because I don't have much poison in my body anymore, like no drugs,
Right.
um, no alcohol. I don't sleep that late anymore. So, and I try, I don't know, to eat as healthy as I can and all that. But I realized that I don't promote any agenda, what sometimes has cost me, I don't know, things that about work, for example. It could cost me that sometimes, if I really wanted
Yeah.
to achieve some things, but those things I don't want anymore. So
Right.
I don't know. And on the other hand, I've lived more than I hoped for. because I came to the Lord when I was 30. It was
Yeah.
pretty crazy. When I was 33, I already quit drugs for 10 years. And a friend reminded me that, the day of my baptism, I was like, I felt like a supernatural high. It was so awesome. And my friend told me, I didn't even remember, like, today you are 10 years free from drugs and alcohol and all that. I was like, wow, today. And I got baptized at 33, things like that. I was like, wow.
Wow.
So so I got like some extra blessed time, and either way, like when we're discussing end times and all that, because there was a time that I would expose some things, because, for example, in my opinion, with the pre-trib stuff,
Yeah.
comes up a lot of lingo that's really not in the Bible, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as you have your essentials clear. Christ is Lord. Uh, he was crucified, he died, and he rose again from the dead at
That's
the
right.
third day. Those things clear, he is Lord. But I always like to look into things. But a little bit, it's like sometimes you
Me
get
too. Like
what you used to call a gut feeling when you. Oh, sorry.
no, but
Go
like
ahead, brother.
me too. I've always wanted to like look into things, and sometimes I'll entertain something like even though I know like in my oh he fell off. Oh no, it sucks. Even though like in my gut I know like oh this can't be true or there's something wrong with like the some kind of belief that somebody might be bringing up, but like I still want to hear how it is that they got to thinking that way. But oh man, I hope he's able to join again. But if not, man, that was really great to have Alex up here. Oh man, that was great. If anybody else wants to join, go ahead and click the link. I could put it down again. If I wonder how the internet is out there, if it's all the same. Like I always wondered about that. Like one thing I wondered about is that of course I have kind of a similar situation with addictions, like a lot of us have had, right? And just how expensive and demanding that sickness is, right? And then I uh, watched a documentary on this country called Liberia, and it's they said at that time it was the poorest the it was the poorest country in the world at the time, and everyone lived on less than $1 a day. So everybody had less than $1 a day, but there were still crack addicts and people doing heroin. I'm like, man, how did they get the money to do that? If you live on $1 a day, how do you get $50 for heroin? I always wondered about that. Like, do they make it cheaper for these other countries? Because if they do, that's just straight up evil, man. That's evil on its worst day. All right. Oh, here's Alex. He's back.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Alex. Welcome back, my friend.
Well, I got kicked out. I don't know. I just go with potato technology. I only use this phone. I don't even have a computer.
Yeah. I try to be this as minimal as I can, right? Like, I'm just
Yeah,
like you. I don't have a lot of money, but I don't owe anybody anything. And I just have the simple service, just the phone. And I try to do everything as cheap as I can. And,
right, right. Right. For example, I like live in a building in the city. Like it's everything. Sometimes I think, yeah, I would like to live in the country, for example, or I always lived in houses, but I ended up in an apartment. But at least it's mine. At least I'm safe. I don't know anybody, anything. Like, not that people haven't been generous with me. Like, for example, my brother, right? He invited me to his house. I didn't know his new apartment. He's like a little bit of a emptiness situation going through that. He's already 60 and all. So
Yeah.
changed place, he sold the house, and he like sized down a little and taking it easy, like his last home here, right? So like
So
grateful that he invited me, and went there
he's like
for a
real
while.
he's like real stable, and he's got like some extra room now, and his kids have moved out and all that, and that's nice.
Yeah, yeah, just the little girl that's there. Well, little girl is like 24 or something. I don't know, right?
Oh yeah, she's still adult.
Yeah. Right, right, right. And well, those are the things that one values most, like friends, like new friends like you, or old friends that I know, because time goes really fast, and I'm so
Yeah,
grateful that I have friends like for 40 years or something. It's insane. It's like a lot amount of time. Like
it does. It
last year,
seems like
unfortunately, some
well, it
friend
does.
passed away. We didn't see him for 40 years. It's crazy.
Wow, that is crazy. Like I've
Yeah.
noticed that like in the last 5 years or so, right? Like it seems like time has been going so super fast. Like, I mean, I don't even know where
Yeah.
the time went, you know? But now I
Yeah.
like have you noticed like the last couple days, like the last 2 or 3 days, it feels like time it's not going real slow, but it's slowing down to like what I used to feel was normal, you know? I don't
It's
know if
slowed a
anybody else.
little bit. Yeah, yeah, it's slowed a little bit, but it's like time doesn't change itself. I mean, it's like how could I put it? Like a long day. That's how it feels sometimes. A long day, but that nothing changes that much. So might as well do what you like and cultivate your interests, and have like a stay close to the Lord and have a
Right.
good humor. Eat well, as vary your food like as much as you can. Like have a decent diet, like no sugar, no salt in excess, stuff like that. I don't know. Enjoy the friends you got. Cultivate a hobby. Listen and do and produce good music. That's always helpful
So
because it.
so were you able to get into the music industry doing stuff like that or
Yeah, pretty close, but not like in the industry or like making a record or I mean, I've been, for example, here they used to do something like really crazy, like in the 90s, for example. They did it with reality shows also, but with soap operas, for example. They made like a CD of the soap opera that they did here, right? And it had
right?
songs where like trendy at that time, and also some original. They would pick up some original band. And sometimes I ended there, but like doing sessions, especially with the blues harmonica. That's what I play a lot now. In fact, I play other instruments too, but the blues harmonica, it's like my kind of session thing, or what I do in church, for example. Because I can play guitar too, but many people do, so it's kind of gives it like some kind of original thing. Plus, I get to do my own arrangements, and I got into these things about making records, but if they would tell me sing this song, maybe I wouldn't do it, but do a solo and do you want to do like a melody here in this space, I would just do that. Sometimes I did it for free because, like I tell you, it was like circumstantial stuff, like two guys playing in the street, like leaning on a car, on a summer day. And I was like, hey, there's something wrong. You don't have the right harmonica, right? And I had it in my pocket. And oh, wow, would you like to play here? And blah blah blah. We have a band. But I realized other things like pretty quickly. Like these guys, for example, said, we like rock, we like heavy metal and stuff, and we got to do this pop garbage for a while. But and I realized like somebody would come in the room, like a guy with a suit, right? And he would tell, no, I
Right.
don't like the word love here. Can you change it for Pepsi or stuff like that? Or can you take this guitar off? And they were just giving it all away. And I realized, well, these guys, they won't have the same audience. They won't have the same studio, the same instruments when they get famous if they don't keep on doing the same thing that they really hating now.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, and it was pleasant at some point. Fortunately, I'm not good, for example, with fancy chords and stuff, but to improvise, for example, in the harmonica, I can do something like pretty decent. So it didn't take a lot of time, but if they would tell me, "Oh, you want to be famous and sing this garbage?" No, thank you, right? And I always had that freedom, and took me other places too that have more to do with experience, like doing music for theater, and then that develops sometimes in a little role acting, uh, but very little stuff, and you lose money doing that usually.
Right.
But I was
Right.
fortunate because I had some sponsorship, and even paid rehearsal, like some foundation or something, or some project we won. Always things like that, like very blessed. Because here, if you rehearse for theater, you never get paid. You just lose money. But experience-wise, it was really awesome. So I
Yeah.
never made money what I like, but I didn't stop liking it, and I think that's worth it.
Yeah, because if you get a chance to do what you love to do, right? Like then it's like as long as a lot of people just do it for enough to survive, right? Like okay, I could eat today and still do and enjoy myself. Like they don't never stack up any money, but it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
fun. It's a fun way to pass the time and live your life, right? Like it's more
yeah.
important things than money, you know?
Yeah, and
And so
sometimes
like
I've done like other things, right? But I can't stop doing music, even if I try, it's crazy. I have it like in my head all the time. So I'll do it even if it doesn't get out of my apartment, but it kind of keeps me alive in a way. I don't know. It's crazy to explain. I
yeah.
can't remember a moment where I didn't do it, right? But for me, like being famous or being virtuoso or stuff like that, for me, it's just about like, I don't know, it's about happiness. It's about that, really.
So what do you think about like the state of the world like with all these things that are like happening, with economics, with health, with just everything the way it is, right? Um if so like if you're more of like a historicism type end times belief, right? Do you think that we're on the other side of the 1,000 years and very close to the return still?
Well, I think that, but not in the way like of a rapture, because I have, well, as I said, like
Yeah,
I can agree with things of historicism, and I can agree
yeah,
with things with you also. But with the people that I used to be like, I don't like debating, but I
right,
got like
right.
a really good feedback, especially from one channel. I won't even mention him, but like we brought up like the historicist stuff, and then but what I brought up is what I always understood from the Bible, because when I before going to any church, or I try to read like the Bible by myself, and then randomly I would get up with a friend and we were starting like a home fellowship. And I always kept that home fellowship, well, not now anymore, many things happened in the way, but I always used to congregate not in the same church, like being religious about it. And I come from a place that, yeah, it's a personal relationship with Jesus, right? And
Yeah,
for example, in that time, like the 2000s or 2001, before or very near
yeah,
the other event,
yeah,
um,
yeah, 9/11,
I people started talking to me about the Left Behind series, and there was a Christian channel here that was showing the movie, and I really could never see that in the Bible, or some lingo that's not in the Bible, Well, people say the word Bible is not in the Bible, and
yeah,
when you
yeah,
say the book or the books, it's the Bibles, right? It is
yeah,
in the Bible. Or Trinity is not in the Bible, and that's another thing that I also maybe sing. Put look at it a little bit differently, in the sense that I don't see it like water, like it's ice and water and then vapor, because that would be like modalism. They can't act together at the same time. I see that
right,
Trinity. I see that God is
yeah,
one, right? But just like as music is one, music is melody, rhythm, and harmony, but it's one, right? And all of those
yeah,
parts are one. I see it that same way because it works together. When the ice is not vapor, it's not working together. So
Right.
Those things like have a problem, but I wouldn't say that I'm a historicist, but many things that I have checked out there are very true. And from other people that think maybe differently, I would say that we're definitely like in a moral decay. I don't know if like never before, but now human perversion is more available. The we're more connected. People
Yeah.
are more desperate, are obviously more brainwashed. Or for example, stuff about the moon or flat earth or blah blah blah. I'm not into it very much. I think they definitely lied about the shape of the earth and all that. And they, when I was a kid, I knew that President Nixon didn't talk on a line phone to the moon. Like, I mean,
Right, right, right,
if I get on the subway
right.
and my signal goes out, it's impossible, right?
Yeah, that's there's because back then people didn't know the information. The average person didn't know the information travels through a medium, through the air, right? Like, so like the idea
Right.
that a signal would travel that far, and then not only that, but they were saying zero atmosphere on the moon, right? So there is no
Yeah,
air,
yeah.
there's no satellite dish, there's nothing to like even do like it would they don't have anything to do the signal with anyway, and it's the
Right.
distance would be way more than a 5 second, 10-second delay. It would be way more than that, and so that's
It
crazy,
happens
man.
extremely. So imagine 53 years ago. But what I know, like for a fact
53
that
years ago, you're right.
yeah, exactly, because that's like the time when I was born. Right? I was like a month old, and I had like the TV in front of me, like watching this. Whatever mashup they made, or whoever made it, it was a thing. Like people bought the TV for that, right? So yeah, black and white, of course, and all that. But I knew like already in the 70s, like for cell phones and that, the technology already existed. But the
Yeah,
problem is who's going to own the frequencies? You see, because once you brought it up, like how the enemy tries to imitate everything and be omnipresent when he can't.
right.
So technology is the way to do it, and but can't do that without the original. Like because like the frequencies are have a certain speed,
Yes.
so we have to work out what God did first. But that was the problem. Who's gonna like have the copyright of it? There was some trouble with that, but the technology was like available to do it.
Sure. I
My
think
dad
there's a
told me
lot.
he passed away like in '88, but he told me, maybe the year 2000 you're gonna be watching TV on your phone. I was like, I can't believe that.
Right, right. But you're right. Like people are even saying, well, yeah, maybe on your watch or something like that, you can watch TV, and like, no way, that's crazy, right? But I even think that they had like
Right.
Um, I even think they had technology that's way, way, way beyond what we have now. But like the idea was that they couldn't find a way to like to bill it, to measure it, to to own it, right? And so you're right about that, right? Who's going to
Exactly.
own the frequencies? Who's going to own like because information has to travel. It's not something that's magic. It's flying through the air, and it's
Yeah, yeah.
definitely affecting us physically. It's frying us, But
Right.
what I'm thinking about now, right, is like how they can. I mean, they just have these ways of putting an AI in these in the air, right, like with radio frequencies, and just to be able to remember things about you through the air, right, about your heartbeat, your
Uh-huh.
eye color, your face, facial recognition without a camera, just with the air around you, the information from the
Wow,
air.
wow.
And it's
Right,
crazy
right,
because
right,
you know how
right.
they talk about like the devil, right? He's the prince of the power of the air, right? The TV airwaves, the
Yeah,
radio
yeah.
airwaves, crazy, right?
Right. But when you read Job, you know that I mean, uh, he can't do anything without God's permission, And in a way, he's allowing things that are like pretty horrible. And to be like quite honest, I'm like, Father, I really don't agree with this. you are allowing it, but maybe I wouldn't. But who am I, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy, like the typical problem of evil, but in the end it's just perversion. Like the devil is never creative at all he's left is like to twist stuff, right? Like
Right.
can't
To
do
like,
anything without the original version.
well, what I don't get, right, is that so in order to like really fall for some of this stuff, they got to have us to consent, right? They got to have our consent, right? Like if there's some kind of ingredient they want us to eat, it'll be written on the package, right? So that, well, we ate it, it's our fault, right? Or if there's some kind of thing on TV, it's over sexualized, over bad language, they warn us about it. Oh no, we warned you about it, right? And it's this whole thing about like
Exactly.
having to tell you what's going on so that way, like, you've made a choice to bring it into yourself, right? To hurt you more in a spiritual way, and I
Yeah,
wish
and
people
it's like the
understood that,
standard of like cloud of witnesses, unlawfully but legally,
Oh man, cloud of witnesses. Oh wait, he's backstage. Hold on a second.
what they okay.
The cloud of witnesses. You went out for a second.
Right, that they
As soon
have
as you were
to
saying
tell
cloud
you
of
what
witnesses.
they're doing. It's called masterfully speaking.
Yes.
They have like what they do with pre-programming in the movies and stuff like that, because it's all about that, really. But now it's like all out in the open. It's like crazy, crazy.
So Michael was saying, in what way does it affect your mind? Better yet, I've got a great question for you after the show. Okay, well, let me answer that first. Well, the way that
Oh,
like
and by the
these,
way,
yeah,
no, by the
go
way,
ahead.
I want to say hi to everybody in the chat, but I
Oh,
can't see you guys because I'm here. If I
yeah,
get out, I'll it will kick
Alex
me
says
out. I'm
hi.
just in the phone.
Alex says hi to everybody.
So hi everyone.
All right. So
Yeah.
Michael said, which way, in what way do the signals affect you? Well, I mean, like, so if you have like a lot of like minerals or like mercury from some kind of bee sting recently, right? If you have any heavy metals in your body, right? And
Mhm.
they use microwave technology to move information, right? Well, it's like if you put a fork in a microwave, right? Uh, it sparks, it like this is just
Right.
one way it gets you, right? Yeah, it'll catch fire, aluminum foil or whatever. And if you accidentally leave it in the microwave, well, the more heavy metal you have in your body, right, the more that affects you. And so there's a lot of things being dumped in our skies, a lot of things in our food and our water, right, and a lot of things
Yeah,
we're
that's
getting
true.
medically.
That's
Yeah,
true. But when I try to go deep into those things,
yeah.
you kind of sometimes the Lord stops me. Like when I go like in the conspiracies about Canyon and or Paul is dead. Or Beetle conspiracies. I can tell like the whole thing is done like for social engineering, and now in these days, like everybody can be like a star, for example, right? An influencer, Instagrammer, supermodel, or whatever. Like everybody, like the masses. So there's more distraction, even like more deceivers out there, but it's more out in the open too. Like people are less creative in that. For example, instead of plagiarizing a song, they'll just sample it, right? And out in the open, right? You just steal something and do something else, and that's okay for this age. So it's kind of like divided the things, like the ones who rule the world, the politicians, and now like the social media stuff, or the YouTubers, or influencers. Now it's not that much like, oh, this guy's a Hollywood actor, or it's not like that relevant anymore, especially pandemic
Right.
times, people desperate, like, for attention, for audiences that they don't have anymore. So that's kind of crazy. But what I think is that when I go deep in these things, especially, tend to get a little bit paranoid. Like the Lord tells me, I got you, right? And there are things that these distractions try to get us away from, like good humor and listening to good music. And that really keeps you young and keeps you, uh, I don't know, it's very combative against these
Here.
frequencies and all the toxins that you get, even through your eyes, right? Or
Right.
whatever, right? You're bombarded with this. Like, for example, I dropped TV. I looking at my TV right now, but it's even unplugged. I haven't
Yeah.
like watched TV like in 6 years almost. Like, not at all. And
Wow. It's like
sometimes I
it's like
go
you're
to
telling
a
that
place.
story. Like my TV, the same thing. Unplugged 5 or 6 years, about the same.
Yeah, yeah. It was like a blessing because I used to like cut the news off like for a little while, and then I realized that it's all just garbage, right? I mean, it's
Yes.
there was a time when I would like watch cable, like not discriminating everything and sleep with the TV on and have the TV on. Like I needed the noise. It's crazy now that I look back, like 20, 30 years ago, I used to be like that. And I used to like to eat compulsively and play guitar while I watched, and then went outside and had a smoke and came back, and the TV was on and on and on, like hours. And then I
Non-stop.
was
Right.
watching a cool documentary, and I like end up, I don't know, like watching some movie about the mutant vampires from Jupiter or some garbage, like,
Right.
and I
Right.
slept with
Right.
that. I was always tired.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, right? Because it like you think of this stuff as oh, this is beneficial to me. It's entertainment. They made that for me
Yeah,
to enjoy, right? But the truth is, they made that to brainwash us. That was
yeah,
their intent
right,
from the
right.
beginning.
Yeah. For example, I don't have any like technological ambition. That's why I'm like such a Fred Flintstone. I don't even have Wi-Fi, brother. I used to
Right,
have
right,
this. I used to have a flip phone, right? That
yeah.
they gave me long ago, like my first cell phone. Like you need one. Like, okay, get it right away. And okay, I got the flip phone. And once I bought another flip phone, then like a new improved. Oh, it had a radio or something like that, right? No cell phone still, but and the company gave me some money with it, right? And they tell me you can change this like for a new equipment or to go to the movies or whatnot, right? And I always kept it, and I put like a little money on top and blah blah blah. But I never used Wi-Fi in my life ever. And for example, if my phone goes off today, my service goes off, or I don't pay this month, I still have a little. I like put a little bit on top, like, but enough payphone that I could use like for 3 months, and it's always accumulating like for almost 20 years. So I never cared, and they call me all the time, like to make a contract or whatever. But if in this life, like you don't go doing contracts or I don't know, just go after material things. You can. But the blessing, for example, is I don't have children. I love children, but maybe one day, I don't know, the right girl. But I'm too old. Either way, I think I would like spoil them and would be like another child instead of like not really an adult, like what they need, for example. But that also has been like a kind of a blessing in disguise. So, for example, I don't drive. I can't drive because I used to have epilepsy, but I don't have it anymore, and I don't even take the meds anymore. Like that's done. Like
Wow.
for years anymore. And even when I abused drugs, I once got intoxicated or 2 times, and I had like some weird stroke or some convulsion, but only when I abused it with alcohol. Last time I checked, like 4 years ago, I didn't have anything, and I never went to check it like for 30 years. So my brother said, "Well, you got to do it now," and there was no sign of any negative activity in my brain. Like all my health was pretty good, except a little. My eyesight was not very good, and I got glasses that, of course, I never use, and I
It's
already I
like
don't even know where they are.
It's like the
now.
Lord blessed you, right, with like good health, right? Like,
Well, from day one, brother, from day one, I
yeah,
was even born with cerebral palsy. They say
right,
this
right.
guy's
Oh,
never
I
gonna
remember.
walk or
Yeah,
talk. Maybe not even yet.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe not even gonna live that much, right?
yeah,
But yeah, as a child, maybe it was like kind of harder. I've always been super clumsy, like for everything. But it's like
right.
a kind of weird that I ended up like I don't know, playing an instrument. It's like something like a gift that nobody ever
Yeah,
expected, right? Like this guy wanted to be able to talk. Like imagine that. It's like pretty crazy. Or eager or be able to drive. I never drive, but here, for example, I got buses near, and I don't know, I move around the block and I got food, right? It's like all walking distance, and that way I'm very blessed too. Like in every area, like the even when I have a bad day, I can look like years back when I said like I'm never gonna get out of drugs or I'm gonna die in this crap, you know.
right, right.
That it's like I die young or I'm gonna be a cool grandpa that's getting high all the time, and neither happened, right? Well,
It's
I could be a
amazing, isn't it?
grandpa now, maybe. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, I
and
never
that's
thought that.
completely
I
not
never
me.
thought I was ever gonna. I never thought I was ever gonna get out of addiction either. You know, I never was happy. Not even 2 days in a row. You
No,
know, and I thought
right,
like
right,
I'll always need something to get me through the day. You know, but God
right,
blessed
right,
us, right? Like we were able to escape that, and able to live a life where we found joy, right? Like God is amazing,
right,
right? And the world tried to keep
right. And
that
you
from
know,
us, you know?
right, and for me, it's like kind of an extra blessing because people I don't know that knew me before. Like now, if I talk like a little bit about Christ, they will listen to me, right? Because they say I
Yes.
don't. Maybe I don't believe like Alex does, but eh, I didn't give a dime for him before, you know. Like I remember a time that was like really horrible, because I was like, for example, I just like quit going to AA because it helped me in a way, you know. But
Yeah.
I said I don't want to be like 3 days a week remembering this garbage, you know. Like I don't want to do that, right, for 30 years. Uh, that's not my identity. And when I think about it, it's really a curse. The only thing that helped me there, I took a good therapy with a psychiatrist, though, right? I didn't even take any antidepressant or stuff like that. I didn't accept it because I was afraid of becoming addicted to it, right? Sometimes working at night, for example, I used to have like a little blues trio, right? Like the first gig we got when I was cleaning up, I would go drink like a soda or a pop or something or a glass of water. I went to the bar and it was like choreographically, like everybody was leg or something, right? He was going to drink now. I felt that. I really felt that. But when they saw I didn't do it, right? And it's been like, I don't know, like 27 years or something like that, like a huge amount of time that I got
Yes.
kind of extra. And people see that, you know, people see
Praise
that
God.
and
Yes.
sometimes it's like wow, because you know sometimes you say I'm going to talk to about the Lord with this guy or whatever, and there was a friend of the other neighborhood. It was a New Year's Eve, and he was like, well, here we all are, you know, I that have this business, or this guy that's a doctor, and Alex, and I thought he was going to say like the musician, you know, but he said, and Alex, you know, this guy's the preacher. I was like, well, in my life. He
Yeah.
was like, he could see it. I don't know. It was like, it's just
That's
of
so
God,
great.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so good that they see you in that way, right? As opposed to like for anything negative, right? Like I know that
Yeah.
like when I was in my addiction, right, people would associate me with, oh, here he's into drugs and he's got trouble and all that. But now for anyone to look at me and associate me with God, right? Like, oh yeah, he talks about God all the time, or he loves God. I love that when people say that about me, you know?
Yeah. 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 And you know, the crazy thing is that I came to Christ like long after I quit drugs, like almost 10 years, man.
Yeah, me
So
too.
it's crazy that this guy would say it's awesome how God delivered you from drugs. And I was like, yeah, this guy really got it more than me, right? Because I thought it was my goodwill or something or my strength, but it was God all along. Like
Right.
he knows us from the beginning, from the foundation of the world, right? Before that, he knew you. So
Yeah.
that's like amazing to see that he was there all along, you know, and so many dangerous scenarios like you've been too, right? That
Yeah.
now it's like a completely different life, but the people associated with that also, it's really awesome, you know, because sometimes
But
I
what
talk
gets
to
me
people
Well, what gets me,
like,
Alex, is that how similar our lives are, right? Like you're telling a
uh-huh,
story. I feel like you're telling my story, and then I know
this
other
story,
people where it's the same thing, right? And you're like, how are we
uh-huh,
all having these same lives, like same
yeah,
experiences and quitting at the same time, or stop watching TV at the same time, or like
yeah, right,
we're very similar, very similar, you know.
yeah, 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 we're not that different. We make ourselves different, or we think like we're very special, you know, but we're just like variations on God's plan, like new creations in him, you know. Like I believe we have like we always talk about free will, and I've been looking at that, and I say, yeah, we can make like some decisions, like, but just like when you're with a kid or a nephew or whatever, and you say, well, you can do whatever you want to, but don't go over the fence. I think it's kind of like that what we have, but God likes
Yeah.
to see us creative and happy and all that. I mean, here's the blue scale, right? But you can do anything you want here, but that's a scale. It's like a determined thing, right? But he's always in control, you know. He's always in control, and the good thing is that we can like give back with experience, you know. Like I don't know, some things I did that when I was quitting drugs, I used to go out all night and I wanted to see the sunrise sober. Or if this guy like was my neighbor and he had a lot of I don't know, cocaine, I said I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna like resist all night. And I look back and that was really stupid to do, right? So I won't give that advice. Like, but
Right.
but
Hmm.
it was crazy that I did it, you know, and I don't know, and I don't understand why or who did I have to prove this. And now that it's been quite a while, like people don't really care. Like some people would keep doing drugs, or some people will wonder why did I take drugs in the first place. I'll never understand that, you know. But we make it something so huge, but we're not that different. But we are allowed to see like God's favor, like His huge mercy and healing power, like that. It doesn't cease to amaze me. Like I'm so grateful to God.
Yeah, I think that me too, but I think that when I first started, right, to use drugs, right, it was like the first time I was like, oh, this is what I was missing my whole life. Like this is what I need to get through the day, right? Because it was really not the drugs itself that was the problem. It was like the very beginning of my life. I never felt like I fit in. I always felt different. Like people were, I never understood why people acted the way they did, and once I had
Uh-huh.
that, I was like, oh, this is what I've been needing. This is the answer to my problems. But really, once you
Right,
get God
right.
in your life, then you're like, oh, no, wait, maybe I just needed God my whole life, but I filled it with this other thing, thinking that was the way.
Right, right. Now the thing that try to make you fit in, like I was a Ritalin kid, you know.
Yeah.
Basically, that's synthesized cocaine. So if you're like little hyper, you know, and you get bored in class, or you stay late in recess because there's a piano there, and people like will hate you, you know. And plus here, like almost all schools were with uniform, so like you're a number, you know. And that's really crazy, like you don't fit in. So no, let's not cultivate that individuality, you know. This Let's make like standard human beings for society, like the concept of normal, normal. Like when they pushed here the new normal, like I already know, like whole lot of BS was coming with that because they developed that really quick, it was really quick, and it became like I don't know, it went real fast. Like we're all in this together to show me your papers and stuff. Crazy.
Right, right. We're all
Yeah,
in this together. Now show me your documents, you know? You
yeah,
got to
yeah,
go
yeah.
through them everywhere you go. You got to go through them, you know?
Right, right. And here there's been some political turmoil, so there was like some states of exception and curfews and stuff, and it got all mixed together, right?
Yeah.
So people like didn't speak up like very little, like it was much more advanced than in the States, for example, because here they're changing the constitution, and that's like another subject that's all super connected and non-organic, like the same as the beer
Right,
bug going in the. There was like a
right.
social explosion that it was never an explosion, it was a super organized everything. But
It
the
had to
the,
be. It
the
had to be. In order for
yeah,
there to have, everybody, all these different countries, 200 countries with no dissenting opinion, not one or two or 10 countries say, no, we're going to do it our own way, right? No, everybody doesn't do it one way. One answer to the problem
yeah,
is the medicine, right? You know how long it takes to put that together? Like when I was in the army, I couldn't have a barbecue with 2 units and not mess up with someone with the napkins or bring the meat, right? Like I got
right,
mess
right.
up a barbecue, right? Like between 2 units. Can you imagine 200 countries like all agreeing on the same? This thing took 50 years at least to make. It's
Yeah,
crazy that people think it's organic.
yeah, and this kid, the new president, because in this globalized era, it's like more evident everything, like the gun agenda, for example, right? It's like
Yeah,
almost simultaneously in the same day, you see the president here, and you see Trudeau, and you see Biden, and this my president here, not my president, right? But he was there also with Trudeau, and obviously talking about guns and stuff like that. It's the same agenda because the same people rule it, but now it's super like they kind of rush it a little bit in a bad way, and there's this greed factor, right? And they want to shut down some businesses. For example, I got a Walmart like right here, walking distance, but the general manager of this building here still wants to make money, and there's a thing about greed. So if they want, like, I don't know, they want to it's super simple. Like if you're rich, you have to like keep up that style. Like for example, I got like, yeah, some like a table and some stools, and I don't know, like bookshelves and guitars and stuff like that, and harmonicas, whatever. But the things that I like and that I need, like when I was 80 years old, I wanted to have this, like no
yeah.
matter how I arrive, but I don't complain if I had more things, but I'm like blessed. I'm not starving. I'm having fun. Things, and I value that like even more. The time when I was like all locked up here, like pretty depressed. Like for example, I was so happy that my mom didn't get to live to see all this garbage because she used to go out a lot. We used to walk a lot and hang out and like eat cake and stuff. Go out or to the park. Like children. Like on the swing and on the playground and stuff. So yeah, and I have like that. I try like really hard to look in and not to be depressed, and see what music would come out from that, or instead of trying to, it's unavoidable, like to look at the agenda or to look at some truther channels and obviously try to get the information. But in the end, like you just have to surrender to God, and you know that if He's like inside of you, like. I don't know, this body, you're not gonna take it anywhere. My guitar, I'm not gonna take it anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
but they
No,
can't even.
you're absolutely right. Like if you're able to like get to a point, right, where you trust God and you're able to let go of all these like negative ideas or beliefs or all that,
Yeah,
let go and trust God, right? You will be so free
yeah,
inside. You'll be so free
yeah,
because you
yeah.
like, you know,
But don't get me wrong, I complain to God a lot too, right? And the typical thing, it's unavoidable, like why me or why now? But and I like take all more with a grain of salt. Like just a month and a half ago, that in YouTube I got like some local news, and there were many like citizen arrests. The cops were not there, and some people tried to rob a store, and they and the people that went walking by like and beat him up and stuff like that. And they try to mug me, right? Like I was like in a little nylon bag, like that I use for recycle. I had just a phone charger and a bottle of water there. I was going to buy at a supermarket something, and and the guy grabbed the bag, like he came like my way, and he was like hip hopping something, and he looked like weird, right? Like he already called my attention, so I wrapped it against my wrist real well, and when he was behind me, he tried to like take the bag, right? And I pushed him back, and then he beat me up, and yeah, on the ground, and then up again, and then try to defend myself. He beat me up again, and then on the ground again, and then he was like right on top of me, like punching me and stuff. A lot of blood, and it was like horrible. He didn't
wow.
get to grab me, like I defended myself because it's been so terrible sometimes that they kill you for a cigarette sometimes. People are getting so violent, so I was like really blessed, and I got some stitches and stuff. There was lots of blood, but I was walking distance. I had all the money. They didn't rob me the phone that I'm using now. Like, and yeah, I had
Wow.
like I felt like horrible rage against the guy, especially when I didn't stop bleeding. So I was like, oh man, I gotta go to the hospital because I said I'm home, I'm okay. I'll wait a while, not fall asleep, take care of this. But it was bleeding so much that I had to go. Like, it was little thing, but the head bleeds a lot. But
Yeah.
they examined me, and I was like totally fine. And then I walked back home, like looking like a zombie with a bandage on my head, with a black eye, and all that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
my shirt and my jacket was really like kind of gone. But well, what are you gonna do, right? And the guy could have stole me, at the end, because I was like on the sidewalk. Like he could have taken my bag, because that bag, he didn't even look inside of it or anything. He preferred like to just keep on beating me up, right? Then when he had blood on his shirt or sweatshirt or whatever it was, then he
Wow.
stopped. And I was like, wow, I'm walking distance. I got all my stuff and I'm alive. Like, praise God. And I don't have a broken leg, so I can still walk, right? So
Yeah.
that gave me like, I immediately like starting like to cheer myself up, like to overread and stuff like that, right? And to praise more and to read more. Like I totally went the opposite of what the devil would expect it, right? And I'm
Right.
like, I feel like really grateful, because here they kill people like, give me your jacket, no, boom, a knife in your heart, or in your throat. Like I've seen stuff like that. So
Just
it's like a
amazing,
part
right?
two, optimistic part two. Like I hope it lasts, right? 'Cause we're very temperamental and we're very about feelings, but what's important is what are the hope of glory, Christ in us, and greater is He than the one that's in the world.
Yes. Well, Cindy is saying, I don't understand why Stephen is so against music. It is a gift from God. I'm not against music. I love music. I think music was created just for worship,
Yeah,
And I think
it
that the
is.
devil has hijacked it so badly that on earth it makes me very skeptical.
Yeah,
Mhm. But
yeah, it's interesting because
I think it's originally meant to yeah, for worship for God, like perfection.
yeah, it's the art that we share with heaven, right? It's the
Yes.
art that we share with heaven, and I like thinking about that. I understand that.
Uh-oh.
Another I don't know, involved in music or in show business. They just do their thing. They compose a song. Because now people require like I don't know 8 writers for a really bad song. For songs that are not even good musically, and so many people writing them, right? But I don't think they all have like bad intentions or something. I do believe that they are like more than ever, maybe subliminal messages on the
Yeah.
music. But what I mean is like, for example, after reading the Bible, many things that many church lingo is like secular music, right? And I'm like, what's secular music? Like, because sometimes I feel like really great, like listening to Bach or Mozart or stuff like that. It like elevates your soul, right? Your spirit. And there's some Christian songs that are like not even biblical, but they're nice, or some people that I don't know, some Hillsong had some good songs too, but you realize all the doctrine is twisted, or
Yeah.
many others like Bethel, even if the songs are 100% good, there's something weird there, like you gotta be like very careful, especially with words. But what I mean is that there's not a secular G chord or a holy G chord. You know what I mean? Music is
Right.
just music, because there can be like really sweet music while demonic messages or talking about suicide, and the music can be beautiful, right?
Yes. Yes, I
I
think
guess.
that's what makes it so tricky, right? Is that sometimes they could, use something that's so destructive and it sounds so beautiful, right?
Right, right, right,
You
right,
can't
right.
tell the difference. Only certain people, that are very gifted could know the difference between the two sometimes.
Right, right. Because, for example, once I was in like kind of in another church in an activity that I didn't like very much. It was like a counter um, counter party to Halloween. Halloween, it was like
Like a harvest,
the
extreme harvest thing.
yeah, this was like I don't know the celebration of the light, and all the kids were like dressed uh, like princesses or stuff like that, or like really
Uh,
wholesome. This guy had
yeah.
and just like well, okay. But one teenager girl, they were listening on the car. It was in a park, and they had like a real loud volume, like a Latin reggaeton kind of song, with Psalm 23, and it was like very loud. And I said, "This is very loud, guys. Like, could you turn it off? Because it could bother the people that live here. We're trying to like I don't know, spread the gospel here, like, but peacefully, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to be like a."
Right.
And he said, "But this is like but this is Psalm 23, Alex. This is like a Christian song." And I'm like, "Really? Like, how would you dance this?" And she said, "Well, twerking, I guess. There you go." Yeah.
Uh,
No, no, no,
twerking.
no, didn't need any more argument than that, right?
Yes. Alrighty, man. Well, it's time to hit that old dusty trail. Thank you for going long with us today. I wanted to spend some extra
Thanks for
time there,
having me.
but no, you're a very interesting guy, man, and I
I
appreciate
got
you
a
coming all the
feeling
time.
that
And
I'm warmed up.
you've always been a blessing here, that's for sure, a blessing to me. So, thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're a blessing too, and all the people on the chat too. Love you all. Thanks for having me, Steven.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, soon again, hopefully. Praise Jesus
Sure,
for his
sure.
sacrifice and his grace. All glory for God because he deserves it. And please pray for the children. Please pray for anyone being victimized out there. And pray for each other. It's important. And I will see you guys tomorrow, Lord willing, at 6 a.m. God bless you.